Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are taking a look at a laptop that I think could be the laptop for most people out there. This here is the Asus ZenBook UX434. Now, I'm going to get straight to the point and touch on a few pointers of why I think that is so. In short, just 5 things. The design, the display, the typing experience, performance, and the battery life. First up is the design. It's got a pretty slick design and it comes in this pretty unique color, which is royal blue with a rose gold trim. Also, pretty special to all the ZenBook out there is the iconic ripple design on the brushed aluminum lid surface. Overall, it's a really nice design that wouldn't stand out of place even in a professional setting, or be it just a casual setting like a cafe for example, or even if you're gaming. The next thing is the display. You get a full HD 1080p IPS display that is capable of 100% sRGB coverage, and as you can tell, the bezels are pretty slim and Asus boasts a screen-to-body ratio of 92%. Viewing angles are great and the colors are rich and vibrant as well, as to be expected of IPS. So you'll definitely be able to enjoy most of your content on it and might even be able to do some light editing as well. For our model right here, this display is touch enabled, but there are also options for a non-touch model. Up top, you get a webcam with support for Windows Hello, which I feel is still the best way to unlock your laptop in this day and age. Moving down, we have the keyboard, and you will notice the same color aesthetic translates down here. The keycaps have the letterings in the same rose gold trim, and it is also backlit as well. Although I feel that the backlit could be slightly stronger at its max setting. The overall typing experience was pretty excellent, with a good amount of key travel and nice tactile feedback. In fact, this script right here was written on the UX434 on this very keyboard. I rarely made any mistakes, and even if I do, the backspace is nice and big, and so are all the other important keys such as Shift, Control, and the spacebar. I also prefer the default settings for the function row up top because you don't have to hold on to the function key to access the functions itself. Overall, great keyboard. And now we move down to what can be considered the unique feature of this laptop, and that's the trackpad. The trackpad also acts as a secondary display, and it's the second generation aptly named ScreenPad 2.0. Using ScreenPad 2.0, you can quickly snap applications down to the home screen just like you would a smartphone, and you can then launch them right there and then. By default, the app will launch on that small display right there, but if you use the app navigator, same as your recent apps button like on your smartphone, you can then see all the open apps and choose to either pin it or display it up top on the main display. Other useful functions include a digital numpad for you numpad users out there, and a handwriting app, which is, I would believe, useful for digital signatures. There is, however, a couple of drawbacks. One, you can't use the trackpad as a trackpad if you're planning to use it as a second display. And two, you can't actually use the full resolution of it, which is actually 2160 by 1080, simply because of window scaling issues, so that's a bit of a letdown. But if you always use a mouse, the second display will prove beneficial to you for things such as Spotify, YouTube, or simply for a Windows photo browser. For I/O, you get a total of 2 USB 3.1 ports, one of which is Type-C, a full-size HDMI, and a power jack on the left, and on the right, surprisingly enough, a USB 2.0 port. Haven't seen that in a while. A headphone mic combo jack, and a micro SD card reader. We then move on to performance. Our model right here is equipped with an Intel Core i7-8565U, a 16GB of RAM, a 1TB SSD, and actually there's a discrete GPU inside, which comes in the flavor of an NVIDIA MX250. Now, although it's a U-core processor, it is of the 8th gen model, so it comes with quad cores instead of dual cores compared to the previous gen. It has a base clock of 1.8 GHz, and it can turbo boost all the way to 4.6 GHz, which you will actually see it do sometimes depending on light tasks such as Photoshop or simply web browsing or opening up an application. But for a gauge of its performance, here's Cinebench R20. In Cinebench R20, the Intel Core i7-8565U scored a 1438 on the multi-core test and 327 on the single core test. These numbers aren't going to break any records, definitely not. But overall, the CPU still feels really snappy, and you will find it pretty much of no issue for day-to-day use. But the real benefit of this laptop is the MX250 inside, and that makes quite a bit of a difference. In terms of productivity, we can pretty much run Lightroom or Photoshop with not much issues. And if you are into video editing, well, using DaVinci Resolve 16, rendering a 10-minute 1080p video took 45 minutes and 10 seconds, while a 15-minute 4K file took an hour and 18 minutes. Yes, 4K will stress this machine, especially using DaVinci Resolve. But you might fare better results if you are using Adobe Premiere Pro or any other editing software for the matter. However, I'll still say this, that if you are looking at this laptop for video editing, 1080p is still much more suited for it. But that's not all you get with an MX250, you can also play some light games as well. In CSGO, even at 1080p max settings, you can enjoy a very playable frame rate of 85 frames per second. PUBG will push the graphics much more, with 1080p medium getting you just about 29 frames per second, but if you are willing to drop down to 720p, you can get a very playable 48 frames per second. To keep it short, the UX434 will pretty much handle any light gaming titles out there, and even some AAA titles if you're willing to drop down the settings. As for temperatures, the CPU hit around 82 degrees Celsius, while the GPU hovered around 73 degrees Celsius. These temperatures were recorded when I was playing CSGO, but you can expect much lower temperatures when you're doing lighter tasks such as Photoshop or simply web browsing. We now come down to what I think is the best feature of this laptop, and that's the battery life. You get a 50 watt-hour battery inside this chassis, and on the better battery setting, you can expect almost 8 hours of general usage, of which was mostly web browsing, the occasional YouTube, and working on documents such as this script itself. So you can be glad that the UX434 will very likely last you a full day if you are out and about and you forgot to bring a power brick. So as I've mentioned in the start, I believe this could be the laptop for most people out there. You get a great design in a sleek chassis, a very nice display, a great typing experience, and a pretty awesome battery life, not to mention quite a good amount of performance. And to add on to that is the price. The price of the ZenBook UX434 is not too expensive, coming in at just under 2100 Singapore dollars. You can even get it for cheaper, depending on region if you are to configure it with lesser storage or lesser RAM. But as I said, it depends varying from region to region. All in all, I really enjoyed my time with the UX434 and it was a really great experience. If you are in the market looking for a lightweight laptop that has a bit of punch in its performance and reasonably affordable, I think take a look at the UX434. You won't be disappointed. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on the Asus ZenBook UX434. Drop us a comment down below if you have any questions. Subscribe to us if you haven't. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Till the next one, see ya.